Have you ever heard of faith, trust, and pixie dust? Well, today we are actually going to discuss the history and downfall of Disney Fairies. So, if you don't know what is Disney Fairies, it's actually a Disney franchise that was created in 2005. However, the movies that was supposed to be on the Tinkerbell series did not premiere until 2008, and they were all made by Disney Toon Studios. So Tinkerbell is actually a character from the 1953 animated film Peter Pan. She was actually subsequently adopted as a mascot for the company. And in addition to the fictional fairy character that was created by James Matthew Barry, the franchise actually introduces many new characters that expand substantially upon the limited information when the author gives the land about the fairies and the home of Neverland. So actually, the franchise includes children's books with other merchandises, a website, and the animated Tinkerbell series. Now, I do recall that there are the Tinkerbell magazines back in our store back in 2012. That was actually a very long time ago. I think they were first published back in 2008, if I'm not mistaken, but these ones are now discontinued since 2015, when there was actually a last movie called Tinkerbell and the Legend of the Never Beast. This was Disney's Toon Studios' last animated film before it was shut down in 2018. Yeah, same with Planes. They wanted to do a third movie, where Dusty Crockhopper I forgot what is it about. They wanted to do it, and they wanted to postpone the date to 2019. But due to story problems, they had to shut it down. So yes. Okay, so actually the films right here that were included are Tinkerbell, Tinkerbell and the Lost Treasure, Tinkerbell and the Great Fairy Rescue, Secret of the Wings, or you can just call it Tinkerbell and the Secret of the Wings. The Pirate Fairy, same thing. It's normally called Tinkerbell and the Pirate Fairy, and the last movie is called Tinkerbell and the Legend of the Never Beast. They also have one short film and one television special, which is the Pixie Hollow Bake Off and the Pixie Hollow Games. They also used to have a game called Pixie Hollow. I do remember that game was here since 2008. I think it was before or after the release of the Tinkerbell movie, because I have not played that game before, and unfortunately in 2013 the game was discontinued. So all of the Tinkerbell games are discontinued, except for Disney Magic Kingdoms, which is not. As well as this, they also have a theme park attraction which is still available here in America. So actually, the characters in the films that are included in Disney Toon Studios, not the Disney animated canon, these characters are not featured in the Disney animated canon. They are only from Disney Toon Studios. And I do remember some of them joining the Tinkerbell films. Because what I do recall is that there was actually a human girl named Lizzie Griffiths. She's actually a 9-year-old British girl and the daughter of Dr. Martin Griffiths. She actually loves fairies, and she actually did befriend Tinkerbell in the series. And in the fourth movie, since Lizzie doesn't appear physically, she is mentioned by Tinkerbell, as she and Periwinkle were talking about how she met Lizzie and befriended her. In the third movie, as I do recall, her father was actually being a jerk because he doesn't believe in fairies, because there was a deleted scene where a lot of people say that he doesn't believe in fairies. As a young boy, he was trying to draw fairies and trying to sketch one. Eventually, this turns out to be a disaster, as the father stopped believing in fairies, and one time in the movie, he captured Vidya and put her into a jar. He was about to do that and drive off to the London National Museum. Luckily, Tink and her friends, including Lizzie, stopped him on time, and the father is now a likable character and apologizes to Lizzie for not believing her. And actually, we do have some morals for Disney movies as well, because in the first Tinkerbell movie, Right here, you just have to be proud of who you are. The second one means that teamwork always comes first. Even if you're angry, you must calm down. The third movie features on how to believe in yourself, to respect nature, and to respect other fairies as well, in which Lizzie loved drawing fairies as a little girl. Secret of the Winds tells us to be who you are. There will always be times when you know someone has to leave. The pirate fairy as well, if Zarina did betray Captain Hook and came back to Pixie Hollow, then yes, she would have done it. But unfortunately though, I do remember Fairy Gary scolding her to say that she's not allowed to touch pixie dust, and eventually the first time when she did it, it grew into a huge vine. She got into trouble and left Pixie Hollow. So actually, I just say that the moral is just, don't touch other people's stuff. Don't listen to other people who are trying to trick you. So yes. And the last one is Tinkerbell and the Legend of the Never Beast in 2015. So actually, sometimes creatures can't live a while. Can't live longer than humans do, Sometimes they die of an old age and then they go up to heaven. So yeah. And actually, there are some Disney Fairies characters that appear in Disney Emoji Blitz. So actually, there are 2 characters that do appear in Disney Toon Studios. Not all of the Pixie Hollow characters will appear, and eventually I only saw like 2 of them, which are Iridessa and Silver Mist. Eventually, I'll just say that I do play Disney Emoji Blitz. I'm not 100% sure if it's safe for me to record it and upload it on YouTube. That one I have to be a little careful because sometimes, copyright strikes or copyright claims. So I'm really cautious, and I do have to be very careful when uploading these videos. Because I do recall that I uploaded a Coin Master video. I got a copyright strike, 2 of them. Almost got my channel terminated. Yeah, that was really scary. So I promise never to upload Coin Master videos ever again after that. I deleted them luckily because, if I lose my channel, I would have to start all over again. And luckily, I didn't. So yeah. Actually, there are a lot of characters right here in the Disney Fairies franchises, and sometimes they will appear in all movies, sometimes they'll appear in one movie. And eventually, yes, some of the characters do appear in one movie only. Let's just give an example. So Dr. Martin Griffiths and his daughter Lizzie actually do appear in one and only movie, The Great Fairy Rescue. Although Lizzie was mentioned in the 4th movie, she does not appear physically as she was talking to Harry Winkle. I do remember the clip, but I cannot show it to you because this is copyrighted by Disney and I do not want to get into serious trouble. Okay? I'll just, go right here. So actually, yes. So Tinkerbell and the Legend of the Never Beast is actually the 6th and final installment of the Tinkerbell film series. Eventually, it was closed in 2018, and it was the last direct-to-video Disney follow-ups after 21 long-year run. So I do remember I watched some of the Tinkerbell movies, and eventually they weren't out in our country in theaters, but I do recall watching them on DVD and Disney Channel Asia before it got shut down. Unfortunately, you will not be able to see it anymore on TV, but they are available on Disney Plus. So this was actually the last movie that they produced. So basically, there are some canceled sequels. They plan to do a 7 and 8 film, but in 2014, they stated that the 7th film was canceled due to story problems, and Disney Toon Studios was shut down in 2018, 4 years later. Eventually, I'll just say Disney Toon Studios was actually a great movie. They would sometimes make great, mediocre, or excellent sequels, depending on which one you use. And I do recall Tinkerbell was actually in the Return to Neverland film, where Jane was the one who got kidnapped. Yeah, I do remember that story as well. Because one, I do recall that Jane was actually the one getting kidnapped instead of you know who. So yeah, I do recall that, you know, sometimes movie studios don't really last that long. And sometimes franchises as well, they don't actually last because for 6 whole years they actually created a lot of Tinkerbell films. But unfortunately, due to story problems, they had to shut it down. So yes, that's what actually happened. So these films for the franchises don't really last that long. Let's give an example on this. So Hotel Transylvania is actually another franchise that actually ended in 2022 due to their last film, Hotel Transylvania 4. It was not in theaters, but it was actually released by Amazon Prime and Amazon Studios. It was actually the fourth and final feature film in the Hotel Transylvania franchise. And as well as this, they're actually planning on Motel Transylvania as well. Unfortunately, though, you won't be able to see some of the films anymore. And I do recall a lot of active franchises like Frozen, Despicable Me, and Kung Fu Panda. Yes, these are examples of active franchises. But with Tinkerbell series like that, they don't really kind of last long because, you know, they did it for 6 years ever since their first movie, how Tinkerbell was born from a baby's first laugh. And I do remember that Tink didn't want to be a Tinker Fairy, but in the end, she's proud of her talent and she's proud of who she is. I would just say that, you know, sometimes film franchises don't really last that long because actually film series can sometimes last for maybe like, you know, 1 or 2 years, I don't know, but I think the one which actually is active is Shrek. Because I know that Shrek is also an active franchise. So if you could just see right here for the active franchises that are available, you could just see it on the list because normally they'll show a lot of examples. They'll just show like theaters or something, you know. And actually, they do have franchises originating in animated TV series such as Adventure Time, The Amazing World of Gumball, Ben 10, The Fairly Odd Parents, Inspector Gadget, etc. And eventually they do have it in live action TV series. And sometimes they don't really last that long, you know. Like say for example the Mr. Bean franchise. Because I heard that Mr. Bean is on hiatus for the cartoon show, and it will actually be showing a 5th season soon. I think hopefully by next year, if I'm not mistaken. I think the franchise has been on since 1990 until present. So actually, right here it says that it's a television series that was shown in London from 1990 to 1995 for 5 years. As well as this, in 2002, the animated series was released. But unlike the original TV show, there was a little dialogue and relied on physical humor. But as of season 4 from the Mr. Bean series, Mr. Bean began to talk a lot. So does the other characters. Because I do recall that they actually talked in the series. So eventually, yes, I'm not sure if there's going to be an animated movie for Mr. Bean. I don't actually know. But it will be released around next year. Alright. Because I know like some franchises will include movies as well. So yes, that's actually all I know. And you know, the Tinkerbell series did last for around 6 years, but it didn't last as long as the other franchises. So yes, that was it. Anyways guys, I think that's all for now. And this is me.